Hi there, I'm Lisa Robinson, and I want to welcome everyone to our show. And tonight, our show is continuing of domestic violence. As you know, we have a docuseries called Staying Strong for Justice, which talks about domestic violence and helping other people. So that's what we're here for. I have a returning guest, Rita Casman. Rita and I are really good friends as well. Rita is a strong advocate for domestic violence. She is a survivor of domestic violence. And I'm hoping tonight that she can offer some help. And because she's been going through therapy as well, I have went through therapy. And we're hoping that if we can help one person with domestic violence, that we'll be able to get that accomplished tonight. We also did some fact finding and found that domestic violence, because of the pandemic, is up 30%. So we're hoping maybe tonight, at least, if we can help one person, then we've done what we should have done. Rita, how you doing, Rita?
Good, and you, Lisa? Thank you for having me.
I'm good. I thought it would be good to get show because I do know that you're working really hard to kind of get your sanity back. And as we talked about before, you got an injury that kind of triggered that post-traumatic stress. I kind of wanted to talk to you about how you're doing and what did you do after all that happened?
Absolutely. Well, it seems like it was a very simple fall, but it took me months to recuperate. I did take I had taken therapy before, like I have mentioned, but this time I did take a trauma. How is it said? It's trauma experience, or I don't know. It's like a like because of a traumatic event, like therapy is a little bit different than just talking about your usual day to day. It's just focusing on that specific topic. I was with a therapist for a month and a half just because of this event, not other traumas. So it sounds like a very short time, but it really did help me. And other things came out, specifically PTSD because of sexual abuse, and also because of past accidents I had in car accidents. Also, some accidents that I've had other. When I was a kid, I fell from a car and then a moving car, and then once I slipped that on my heels, and I got really hurt that time. This time I was really hurt too, but it was a little harder to understand because I just had this bruise here that almost broke my elbow. So it was a totally different situation. It was on ice, so in a public place, so it was a very different situation. But the thing is that there's other triggers too, as well as I don't know if other people know, but I am an immigrant, meaning that I came here to move permanently to the United States. I'm Guatemalan, so those type of things come with another cultural bias. So what happens is that us immigrants, we're more propense to mental health. We get scared of things like legal implications or separation, things like that. In this case, sorry, I was more I just didn't know. I can't say much about it, but I didn't know what to do to defend myself because it was the establishment's fault that I had the fall. They could have avoided me from getting hurt. So there's a lot of things, right? So it really helped me to talk about that, and mostly with me, with the PTSD that mostly affected me was restlessness. I would just sleep 3 hours a day. And also I was hypervigilant. And also once that I went to the doctor, for a procedure that wasn't able to be done because of past trauma that I've had, physical and emotional, and psychological as well. They took my heart rate and I almost had a heart attack. And I'm just 37 years old. So that was very concerning because there's no, there are some heart diseases in my family, but very little. I've never had problems in my heart. I am overweight, but it's not like in a sense that I'm not diabetic or anything like that. So, all of those things had to really, help me to talk to somebody else, and that's why I want to touch today on the point of therapy and its benefits, and say what my my experience was because of that. Something that I did as well was that here in the United States, as most of us know, there's a lot of resources of people that we can call, organizations that are funded either by nonprofits or by the government, which we can call for free 24/7. There's the National Suicide Line. There's RAIN, for survivors of sexual assault and domestic violence as well, and many other more. Right. So because of the PTSD that triggered memories of other things that were not related to this incident. That's a bad thing about PTSD. There's a lot of bad things, but basically, I started remembering other things that I had dissociated, which means that I had made blank or black in my mind, like they didn't happen, but they did happen. Basically, dissociation is like being present, but being like out of body experience. So I did call RAIN and talk to somebody, but I really didn't know, because in my country in Guatemala, there's no resources for those things. So I was told, like, even though you're an immigrant and these crimes happened in another country, we can go ahead and see if you can qualify for a funded program where you can receive around 5 months of therapy for no cost. So I was approved that, and that really helped me, because they told me that it could be either with a certified clinician, or which would be a therapist, or with somebody that's about to graduate. I chose to do it with an intern, because I know what it is to have the studies and not have the experience, and people not giving you a chance. So I'm like, somebody's going to need my experience. So I'm just, because at the end, I'm not looking for them to give me anything like a degree or anything. And still there's a certain like level that they have of studies. It's not like they're on the first year, right? They already have this person that I'm talking to. She talks to me like if she were already certified. So she has been a very, very important factor in my recuperation. I've been with her for around 3 months. I'm 2 months away of finishing. I know it sounds like very short time, 5 months, but since I had already done other coping mechanisms, which I'm going to talk about in a bit, I was at a level where 5 months was enough, per se. So when I started the therapy, and this comes again to dissociation, right? We try to make things like, oh, it's going to be easy, blah, blah, blah. But the truth is that they did tell me this is going to be hard, because even though you've been in therapy before, it hasn't been specifically for the general traumas and trauma. Here I'm including also talking about my dad's murder and things like that I had never touched base, even though it was 22 years ago. It's something that there were some skeletons there, so I did need to treat that as well. And all of these factors actually are factors that the majority of immigrants have been through, right? So even though they haven't happened here, if you don't treat them, they are most likely to happen again. although we're all exposed to trauma and all of us are traumatized, in my case, I was traumatized. It doesn't mean that there's other people that are stronger than you. It's just the way we are all, we all respond differently to resilience. But the majority of people that have lived with that are resilient. So I did discover that I was like that. I was just being hard on myself. So I did, like I said, dissociate at the beginning and said that it was going to be easy, but no, it was really hard. The first month, I would just cry all the time. But in order for us to be free, we must sometimes suffer to kind of like, and not to be masochistic or anything. It's just to release, because what I did when I moved here was, I'm going to start a new life. I'm going to forget about that. And no, that's not the correct mechanism, because what happens is that it comes back again. It's the same thing with dissociation. That's exactly what I did. For me, it was easier to just let it go. And that was, I was taught with my family bias. So that's what they, taught me, that it's just better to start over. And starting over and overcoming doesn't mean forgetting, but we do have to treat those things. We do have to analyze, like we say in Spanish, like el recuento de los daños, which means like the account of all the damage that has happened, how it has triggered us and impacted us, and how we're going to go forward with our lives. So we don't continue having that, how do you say, that weight on our shoulders. So the benefits have been great, because I found, like I said, other things that I had no idea that existed, after all these years of being exposed to a lot of things. And also it has helped me to understand that there's also STS, which I forgot what it stands for, but it's basically the stress of helping somebody, the stress that you go through when you want to help somebody that has been exposed to the same things or even worse situations than you. And either it reminds you of that, or it just affects you that person has suffered as well. But the truth is that I'm so sorry about my cough. I'm so interested in philanthropy. In order for me to help, I have to be well first. But it doesn't mean that it's not like, I was kind of confusing it with emotional intelligence. So I was like, but why am I being emotional? Well, I'm a human, right? So I still have to talk to somebody, while I gain experience on the nonprofit field, in order to learn how to separate, and understand that distress is something normal, that I'm not alone on it. I thought it was just me, but now I understand that other people have it, because it will be impossible, literally, to say that other people that go and help other people, either, refugees or kids or whatever, that they haven't been exposed to trauma, even though they're not traumatized. It's going to bring bad memories up, because, like I said, we're all people, but somebody has to do the job. So I'm very excited to keep on learning about that, and the benefits, like I said, have been really good. Right now, I'm just 2 months away of finishing. I've almost touched almost all the points that I wanted to touch with my therapist. So it is it's very rewarding. And now I don't feel bad. Like whenever I feel like I want to cry and stuff, it doesn't bring pain anymore. It just brings release. I can say right now, seriously, that I do feel free. I have overcome a lot of the trauma and learned how to live with the past without making it my present or my future. So maybe one of the most important coping mechanisms has been mindfulness. And mindfulness is not just meditation. Mindfulness is about being conscious and understanding that us human beings, we love to live in the past and in the future. The present, very little. And me as an actor, I see how important it is to take mindfulness as a course, because actors have a lot of problems being present. That's the biggest problem. You know,
Yeah.
you're acting out here, you know. I don't believe that you're sad, or I don't believe that you're funny, you know, because
Yeah.
we're not present. We're trying to, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and that's actually how we do it in real life, you know. Okay, I'm gonna act like this doesn't affect me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
And that's what
that's also
post-traumatic stress. Yeah, that's what post-traumatic do you too, and it can flare up at any time under any circumstance, and we get used to being an actor in a way because we have to show this happy face to the public, even though we're in a lot of pain.
Yeah, because that's not resilience anymore. That is, you know, pretending, and acting is not pretending.
Yeah.
Right? People think, oh yeah,
Yeah.
you're right now. You're, you know, this character. You're pretending to. No, you're not. You're being that. You know, so you're not being when you're pretending that it doesn't affect you. So really, my bent, this brings me to what I really want to do. Like, my meaning and my purpose in life has been even like more expanded per se. And really, my message is also that we can learn to live in a happy state despite of anything that has happened to us. And that is very hard to understand, but when we look for help and look for you know, self-care, self-help, you know, books, so many things that we can do, then we understand that we're not what has happened to us, but what we decided to make from the situation. And even the most horrible things can be made positive. So that is something that I also want to talk about. Like, I had to really investigate about, you know, guilt and forgiveness. And for example, I found out that I had a lot of guilt with me because of my previous, you know, problems with partying. So I wasn't very responsible. And I took very long to take my driving test. I hadn't been driving for years. In California, I was just terrified.
Wow.
And everything was like, no, I'll use a train, you know. And I just actually even like dissociated in the sense that, what if an emergency happens and you have to drive? So here in Arizona, I was able to pass my test. I'm just finished waiting for the road test. Yeah, the road test is going to be much easier because I know how to drive. I just hadn't, you know, I'm always doing tests. So I was just so scared that it was 30 questions. You can only have 6 wrong. But it's the same thing, right? The collective, right? Because people say, you're probably going to take it more than once. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm going to take it once. And I took it only once. So that may seem like, well, I mean, you're 37 years old, you should have a driver's license. It may seem something very simple, but for me, it wasn't. I had a problem with that because I had had other accidents, and I was very scared of it happening here again, you know. And the truth is that, and in PTSD, they teach us that it's also bad. So this is not going to happen to me ever again. Cause I don't know the truth. Yeah. But I don't know, like the future, but I can live without fear, and whatever comes, I'll just figure out how to do it. You know, we can't be like, well, and if it happens, then no, then we're anticipating ourselves. That's living in the future. So it's just,
you never know.
Day by day. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And each situation is different. You never know how you're going to react. Like whenever your PTSD gets triggered, you can't think, oh, well, I'll handle it because I've handled it before. It doesn't work that.
No, it does not. No, it does not. So we really have to be mindful. That's why mindfulness is very important, so we live in the present. And even the Bible says that tomorrow is going to bring its own affliction. So that is the which I would say to live happy and peaceful. And it happens to the majority of people that have, if not all, experienced trauma or are traumatized, that we are very fearful of the future because we feel like we can't handle it anymore. But anything that happens to us, even as horrible as it may seem, we can handle it. And it doesn't mean it's okay that it happened, but we can make something good out of it. So I'm very happy that I'm going to start helping other people and more directly in my job. And it's very, just very nice because I love philanthropy. I love so many causes, and probably the dearest ones for me is mental health. I'm not a clinician, obviously, but there's ways that I can help others in volunteering and things like that as well. I took a mental CPR course once, a very long time ago. I didn't even know that the government does that for free. I got that by the Lady Gaga Foundation, which is called Born This Way.
Oh, wow.
And I learned that because I thought, well, if I'm traumatized, I'm never going to be able to help anybody. But the truth is that I can. I just have to be well first. That's always first, Never anticipate. Never anticipate.
And I
The same
think,
thing would happen with that about making a family. I would be like, oh, but my kids aren't born yet. So first I had to take care of myself. And then when they come, I'll figure it out. We can never be 100% prepared for everything. That's control. We can't be like in
that's
control of
true.
everything.
Yeah. But I think that you help, you'll really be able to help them because it's not a textbook. This was real life for you. And the way you handled
Yeah.
it and coped with it, that's going to make a difference listening to you and your story and how you recovered from recovering from it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it also helps us to really, because we think that the most important thing here is our mission for others, right? But the truth is that we came here first to learn, to heal, and then we come to serve others. So this what has helped me to do is to not get attached with my career as much, because they don't teach you how to be an actor, and there's a lot of things that make you want to hurry up or accelerate to everything. So right now I'm taking my time off, and I'm not in auditions or anything like that, because I'm taking care of myself first. That way the next time that I'm on a stage, I am fine and mentally healthy, because I don't want to end up like other people, not to judge them, but because they haven't ended up well, there's several examples, because they didn't take care of themselves first. So if I really want to serve others, I really have to be well first, and it doesn't have to be a burden. It
I
has to make
agree.
me happy. If you don't have fun, like Joseph Perman says, one of my favorite instructors, there's really no. And I was not having fun anymore because I was not well. So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
first separate things. That's why it's the three main areas of life, right? Health, wealth, and love, which you want to say happiness if you want to say, which is like the whole
Mm-hmm.
spectrum. So, and now I am not as hard as on myself. I'm telling you, well, why did I leave all these years pass by? It's because it wasn't the time. The time for that was to go to school, to learn about acting, to live in LA. I moved to Arizona a year ago, and now it's time for my family and for my health, and acting will happen. It already happened. I just right now is a pause, and not all entertainers are working all the time. We already know that. So I'll find the way later to continue. And like you were saying about the studios, I mean, there's actually even people that are thinking about making studios here in Arizona, because the taxes are much less and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you never know. I mean, I could return tomorrow. I don't know.
Plenty of work.
Yeah.
Plenty of work with
Everything
you, I
happens
know.
in
With
divine timing.
yeah,
There's no you would say, well, this, it's backed up because of Mercury retrograde, which it does happen. Which actually, that's what happened to me. That's why I
yeah,
haven't done the road test. But it's not. It's not a delay. It's bringing the right timing. So we just have to be patient.
yeah. And that's a good example because me and you met, and we were going to work on Stand Strong for Justice together. Then I got cancer, and so everything got put on hold to get well, and then we started getting back on track. And then what happens? 2020. We're starting to get back on track again.
Yep.
So, like you said, it's about divine timing. It's about the right time, and things will start again. I know one of the companies that we're using, they're going to fund a whole lot of films on our slate, but we also have the New Orleans Motion Picture Studio. So when you're ready, the work is going to be here.
Yeah.
I was going
Like I said,
to tell you, I
I
go
didn't
ahead.
hear you. What did you say? 'Cause I'm gonna have to go for my charger. What did you say?
I was when I was doing the research for the pandemic numbers on domestic, several sites that have domestic workbooks. So I thought that would be something to share some links on our Share the Love for mental awareness and domestic violence and suicide awareness. So I'm going to work on that. I know it's called wholeperson.com, WHOLE person.com. And it's a PDF printed out, and you got your workbook. I know your situation was a little different, but a lot of women in a domestic violence situation, they're afraid. And they're afraid that they'll get caught doing the research because perhaps there is an abuser. So what can you
Absolutely.
help to guide somebody?
Well, for example, when you call the domestic violence number, you can even ask, to not leave messages or call from unknown numbers. Uh, just try to be I mean, just I can't tell you to not be fearful, but just
Mm-hmm.
how would I say, confront the fear as much. It's not gonna be easy it's not easy for anybody, I believe, but there are different levels of difficulty. Um, but this is how I can best think about that. When you want something and you're looking for a way, you just find it. When there's a will, there's a way, even if it's something that's negative, not necessarily because I came here and
Yeah.
made my dream come true because I want to come. Same thing. I wanted to stop partying, and being, because I was numb for so many years. That's why all this pain this year was like, oh my God, there's all so much. Because, sorry, because it's what I passed through all the years that was just sleeping there in all my body,
Yeah.
But I asked the universe and God, to take me out of there, and I looked for ways, and I got out. It wasn't easy for me either. So there's just have to continue now. The good thing with the cell phones and the computers that you can erase the history,
Yeah.
but if you don't do anything about it, then it's gonna be worse. I mean, I can't
Worse.
guarantee anything, but I mean, we just have to do something, because if we don't do anything, oh gosh, that's not a life.
It being your
That's
life.
a risk.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Well, share with us a couple of points on how you cope and what's your coping mechanism.
Well, like I said, one of the most important ones is mindfulness. I took a class that I'm actually about to finish in a few weeks. And I learned what it was and learned about the non-judgment thing. That's the best thing ever, because I would always judge myself so much and be so hard on myself, and that's really not as fair. So
Me too.
that really helped me to understand and really accept that however I have acted in the past, because that's how I knew how to do it, that's the best I could do. You know, it doesn't make me a good or bad person, which I do consider myself a good person. But
I do too.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's that, and also contact with nature, get out. Isolation is
Yeah.
very hard to manage. Music for me is very important. Meditation as well. Like, I'm a person that I need to listen to music. If I don't listen to music, I feel dead. Also documentaries and stuff like that. Hobbies. I try to learn the piano thing. I'm gonna have to figure out how to do that later, but because now that I'm gonna drive, I'm gonna be able to go and take a class. So because I have the piano, I tried to do it online, but I'm like, no, I need somebody to be here with me. You know, so that's the thing. Just look for things, ways of de-stressing. Talking to somebody for sure. If you don't want to go to therapy, fine, but just talk to somebody. But also, like, learn how to communicate, not just venting, because venting may be like negative. So just like try to say how you feel and give a validation to those feelings, and then feel the feelings, you know, because it's like the grief stages, right? I went through grief definitely right now, even though it was for the past, but I allowed it instead of saying, no, I don't want to feel this way. Because if you start to fight with your thoughts and stuff like that, no, it's not going to work. So same thing, you know, with mindfulness, one of the most important things that I learned is that it is impossible for the mind to stop thinking. That is the job of the mind. So their thoughts, they'll say, okay, I'm not going to meditate anymore because I can't put my mind in blank. Nobody, not even Gandhi, I think, was able to put his or her mind in blank. So I have the thought, okay, I focus again on my breathing, you know, and so it is.
Yeah, that's what I do too. I do breathing exercises. I try to bring the anxiety down. Music is one of my big things too, and I think music will help a lot of people. You know, put both earbuds in and just go into it.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the time we have, but I want to thank you again, and I want you to be next week's show as well. We'll have another guest, and I'm hoping that if your story could just help one person, then we did what was to do.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Thank you, and I'll see you next week.
Sure. Bye.
Okay, bye.